spent the first half of my career leading brand marketing or working on brand marketing and eventually leading the team. And then I eventually went over to channel marketing and I led like sales strategy for our cafe channel and our hospitality channel. So Hefty's been around for 5 years. We were founded by 3 women, one of which is an Olympian skier many years ago. And they were kind of looking at the skiing landscape and the outdoor industry just holistically. And they saw a very clear like gap in the market. And that was this intersection of technical and fashion, something that felt good, that made you feel good, that like fit a woman's body. And
The Art of Commerce is a podcast featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. Hosted by Anish, a data-obsessed creative director, and Jinx, a growth-obsessed CMO. Listen on for actionable insights for the modern marketer.
Branding is mostly creating that feeling, and feelings are intangible. But you also spoke at length about how you're using data to inform some of those decisions. My question for you is, Alicia, I come from a school of thought where I believe if you torture data enough, it will confess to anything. So where do you draw that line? You know, if data is telling you this is working, this is great, but your gut is telling you maybe this is off brand or this is ugly, like how do you make that judgment call? Talk to us about your process.
yeah. Listen, I am always going to like rely on my gut. I think intuition is such a powerful tool.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I didn't come up through performance marketing. And so I have a bit of a bias towards that. I have learned over time how to intake data and make informed decisions based on that data. But in the end, if there's like a conflict between the data and what our guts are telling us, and and I don't just mean my gut, like I'm not a one-person team. I will consult with my entire team and be like, okay, this is what my gut is telling me, but this is what the data is telling me. What do you do here? You know, like, and I will almost always default to my gut. So that's my point of view. I mean, we, again, kind of going back to some tools we recently brought in, and I think in the spirit of giving people some takeaways, like another tool we recently brought in is a tool called Visually.io. And it's a really interesting tool because it allows us to A/B test on our site. So an example of this could be like, we felt like video was the strongest thing to serve on our homepage when you first land there. We were like, our videos are amazing. They tell such a rich story. Let's have them land on video and then go from there. And what we learned from A/B testing and seeing which one actually drove either the longer site visits or conversions was video was not it. Like video felt clunky. People were like, they were quick to get off of the page and they liked static images better, or at least that's what was driving, better results for us. And so like, there is some things like that where I'm like, data, I don't need to test video then. I'll save money on the campaign shoots if I don't have to get horizontal videos for our homepage. And so there are definitely areas where I'm like, the data is so obvious and we have to trust the data. But again, if there's a conflict and I feel like deeply in what and our leadership team feels really deeply about something, then I'm gonna more often than not trust my gut.
Wow, I'm so surprised that video did not do as well.
I know.
In our experience,
with the e-com guys, like it did so well in our tests. Like it's hilarious.
No, I think Jinx, there also has a lot to do with the context of the business. Like
exactly.
When you used to work on Sling, which is promising AV programming, we realized our gut said, hey, we should probably feature some programming and videos in the marquees or the hero section. Because the customer's buying our service to access that TV channel or that programming. So let's give them a preview in the hero. When we tested that, conversion rates went up, like you're shot through the roofs, and we actually scaled our video production to ask for more assets. But in your context, you saw the opposite results, and that's probably, just customer intent, business context, and yeah.
Totally. I also think like I'd be willing to test that again and see if that changes for spring, summer, because we've also built a lot of credibility in the winter space. And so people are like, I know what I want. I'm going straight for it. I don't need to spend time looking at this beautiful video. However, in the spring, summer, like we just don't have anywhere near as much awareness around our spring, summer collection. And so maybe there is a world in which video would be really helpful to explain kind of the value prop of the cute little skirt set that would work really well on a pickleball court. maybe we need that. So, I mean, we'll continue to test it because it did kind of go against much of what I thought was how it was going to play out. But that's the kind of stuff that, we're constantly iterating on things and just trying to figure out like how, what are the hurdles people have when they land on the site and how can we remove some of those hurdles?
That's interesting that you said that, because we always talk about it. There's the shopper mentality and the buyer mentality. And, when in Sling, for example, when there's a game on, they're buyer. Like I want to watch that game, versus shopper might be during the week. And then like, that's for you. Like you actually maybe more longitudinally seasonal, like in the year versus us in a day part. But that's interesting. Yeah. So for your buyer mentality, maybe they didn't like the video, but for your shopper coming in the summer, then that could be air to test. That's really interesting. So I have a question for you, because you and I talked about this a little bit. You guys are opening retail stores, and you have retail stores, and I think you're looking to expand. If keep me honest if I'm mistaken, but what's the interplay between, like, we've been talking a lot about video and CTV and website. Like, what's the interplay between all you're doing in that space and the retail, and how does it work at Half Days?
Todd actually used to say this at La Colombe, because while I was there, we had 3 cafes and we opened up 32 cafes. And then in addition to that, we had some cafes through like Whole Foods grocery store. We had like cafes there. And then we also had some cafes in airports that were not run by us. So I saw a huge retail expansion happening when I was at La Colombe. And again, spent a long time doing marketing for our cafes. So I think that like the thing he used to say is that like when you have an owned space, you're creating a world. So think about Apple products, for example. Like when you go into an Apple store and you go to a Genius counter and you're experiencing Apple products like in this very hyper curated space, you have like an emotional reaction to that. But at the end of the day, you might still end up buying your phone from Verizon at a Verizon wireless store, right? Because for many, many reasons. It could be convenience. It could be because of your plans, whatever it is. And so for me, I kind of view retail that way. Like I want our stores to have programming to make you feel a certain way, to be like, and in the case of Half Days, like super sleek, very inviting, very minimalist, like, because this is like who we are. And we just want like, and full of color, even though we're minimalist, it's still full of color because colors is a thing that we stand for. I want it to feel a certain way, but at the end of the day, like if you shop at REI, I'm going to meet you where you are.
Right.
We're going to be here at REI for you. And I listened to a podcast recently about like the downfall of Nike. I have to laugh because I'm like, I don't feel like they're having a downfall in any way, shape, or form. However, one thing that they talked about was like, just like they pulled out of a lot of retailers and they opened up a lot of like, a lot of owned Nike stores. And they were like, at the end of the day, convenience is hugely important. You have to meet your customers where they are. And for us, it's like some of our customers shop at Revolve and some of them shop at REI. And like I think it's really important that we have presence in those stores so that way they could buy it where they shop. And then in terms of our stores, I think we're going to be slow and steady to open them, but really, really thoughtful on what that experience looks like, that shopping experience, and make sure that we add value. And adding value like can come in a lot of different ways. Last week, we hosted as part of the Olympic push, we hosted a Ski with an Olympian Day. And so we sold tickets through our events portal and had a bunch of girls meet us at the store. They got like 15% off if they showed up at the store and they shopped. And then we had coffee and pastries. We all loaded onto a bus. And we bussed them up to Copper and we skied for the day. And like, it was so much fun. We had such a wonderful time, and then had a little bit of an opera, came back down and dropped them back off at the store where they started. And so there was like, there's experiences that we can offer to customers through retail that you just can't do online, frankly. That's it's just not possible.
Yeah, it's the showcase mentality. I mean, yeah, you want to get revenue. What I'm translating this, and keep me honest if I'm wrong, is you want to get revenue from the stores. Of course, you want to sell stuff, like that's, of course, yeah. Duh. But like it offers you a showcase that people shop everywhere. Like your point, they shop on Amazon or they shop here. So it's like if you're in that location, you're not gonna say no to it. But that being said, if they really want to look and touch and feel and experience and get for lack of a better term, the experiential part of the thing you just said with that ski day, like that store becomes the hub. So I really love the way you outline that.
I also think like we're not inexpensive. I mean, we're way more affordable than a lot of things at the quality of product that we have. However, we're not inexpensive. And if you're buying a $400 jacket, like you're going to want to touch it and we get that, you know? So we try to remove some of those barriers online to make sure that people can do that. And we also try to make sure that like, I love the fact that we have a store here. So we're right like in a great part of town where there's a bunch of other outdoor brands. And so I just feel like we're in good company, but, yeah, if you want to try it on before you commit to something that's not inexpensive, like you have the ability to do that.
One of my favorite offline shopping experiences is a Cabela store. Because you see all these stuffed wild animals. There's a huge fish gang.
By the way, Alicia, if you guys make a fishing line for men, Anisha's there. Like, I'll just
love it.
So, what are you, Alicia? What is your favorite offline shopping experience?
Ooh, my favorite in-person shopping experience. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna say I recently went to Buck Mason in Lower Manhattan. So Buck Mason is a brand that I've been like admiring for a long time. And I have a few pieces from them that are like, I just really adore. We were in the city just before the holidays and I was like, oh, I'm right next to this Buck Mason that I have been seeing everywhere. And I walked in and it was as gorgeous as I had been seeing online, like floor to ceiling bookshelves and like, you know, Ames chairs just in every corner. You could just relax and read a book. I mean, the way the product was merchandised was also like you were in somebody's dressing room. Like it was just like laid out on the table and you're like, it just felt, it was so warm. It was so warm. The colors were warm. It was so inviting. The staff, they didn't have like a traditional POS. The staff was just walking around with like iPads and they would just like check you out if you were holding something and you liked it. And so it kind of bucked a bit of the trends like that you're normally used to when you're shopping, but it was just such a gorgeous space. They had a coffee shop there and I'm like a huge proponent of hospitality in retail stores. I feel like very early on, Saturdays New York was doing it. The Labo in New York was doing it. They all had like coffee shops. Todd Snyder has like a beautiful coffee shop in their Madison Square Park location. But the ability to be able to like offer hospitality in addition to shopping is just like such a fun thing. And that store just blew me away. I was like, this place is gorgeous. It's like absolutely stunning. And and I bought stuff. I loved it.
That's amazing.
Wow,
we gotta get some images of the store, Anish, and put them so the listeners and viewers can see it. You know,
Buck Mason, yep.
So when you're curating that in-person shopping experience at half days, what's the thinking behind? What do you want the user to feel when they're in the store and when they walk out?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is like feeling welcome. You know, we want people to feel welcome, that they like can come in. And a lot of that is honestly through people. Like you just make sure that you have like a stellar team that works in the store that welcomes you and doesn't make you feel like uncomfortable or whatever when you're shopping in person. And I feel like we've really nailed that. The other thing that I think that comes through in our store is like the technical elements of it. Like we use a lot of mixed mediums. So we use a lot of like woods kind of playing into Nordic ski culture. We also use a lot of use of metals. And I think that also kind of plays into like the technical elements. Again, trying not to lose sight of this like white space and then color is really fun. And I think color allows it to feel very inviting. So I think that at the end of the day, I really just hope people come in and they feel like it's a welcoming place for them. And that they have the ability to try stuff on. Like there's nothing worse than walking into a store and being like, I feel like I can't even go into that dressing room. Like that is uncomfortable. And so it's certainly important for us that people feel like they can come in, they can peruse, they can grab what they want, they can try it on. And
Yeah, particularly for high end, you even said like it's it's not cheap, right? And then how do you give that accessibility, for lack of a better term, to like get someone off the street to walk in and feel comfortable doing that? That's amazing.
Totally.
So we are contractually obligated to ask you this as being a marketing podcast. So you give us a lot of great stuff around, and I think I can tell I think the listeners can tell how deeply integrated with the brand you are and how just intuitive you are about it. So when you think about that, but then you think about AI, that's the thing we're contractually obligated to say. How does AI fit into what you're doing? And are you guys embracing it? Or are you hesitant because you're like, no, that's not something we want to do in our space because we want to be authentic? Like, how do you think about it?
I think AI is deeply subjective. So I'm going to speak for myself and my opinion as a marketer, because it's not necessarily a reflection of like half day's perspective. I think AI is invaluable. Like, I think AI is so wildly valuable. And if you are leading a marketing team and you're not paying attention to how it's all kind of changing the landscape, then like that's a huge miss. Mm-hmm. I think that there is a time and a place for AI for sure. And we have tested many things that I think are some of which are really helpful and some of which I would not do. I think when it comes to data, like I had mentioned Triple Whale, they have a program within Triple Whale called Moby, and we can ask Moby all these questions and it reads through our data and spits out graphs and information for us. Like, hugely helpful for me, especially someone who's not a performance marketer who's really trying to always kind of unpack these learnings. It's like, that's so helpful for me. We've tested AI from a CS standpoint. So like, how can we use AI to offer like custom emails based on like weather patterns in certain areas? Nice. Like, hey, Boston, you just got snow. Here's an email from our AI agent saying like, you should try this ski stuff. Yep. And so like, we've tried people who are part of our CRM or like services part of our CRM that offer that, like Klaviyo. And then we've also tried other outside partners, like LTV.ai is like a really great platform that offers, it's what Backcountry uses for their gearheads. Oh, interesting. And it's like a really cool platform that allows you to have like personality in emails based on people's browsing behavior and where they're located and all the data you have. So I think that there's ways to do it that feel genuine or that are really helpful to us as marketers. Places that maybe I wouldn't do it is like, we've talked a lot about that and how it contributes to creative. And like, do we just pay for one model's usage and then we like use AI to repurpose that image? And I think that's where I draw a bit of a line where I just like, I think skiing is personal and like we should have models that are real people, that are real women with real shapes. And we should not just like rinse and repeat the same person. I've seen a lot on social of people using AI to create like social graphics. And I think that like sometimes that works and sometimes that doesn't. Like, as long as it doesn't feel disingenuous, like if you're trying to trick someone at all, whether that's CS or whether that's social content, if you're trying to trick someone, then I'm like, do not do it. It doesn't make sense. But if you're like, ShopUp does this a lot where they use AI to create like giant bags, like shopping bags, like handbags, and they drop them in on top of like Miami. And they're like, we're popping up in Miami. And it's like, it's a cool graphic that like clearly illustrates like that they're doing a pop-up in Miami. They're not tricking you to thinking they actually dropped a giant bag on, South Beach. Like, so to me, it's just about using it in a way that feels like very genuine and not trying to create something that is false, that it has like falsities.
The way I think about it is like the word I use is integrity, right? Like are you putting this out and does it have integrity, right? Like, do you stand behind this, or to your point, is this a trickery? And if you have like, because we used AI, in slang, like I felt like that had a lot of integrity. We were making it feel cool. We weren't like putting Michael Jordan or LeBron James or whatever in the thing. Like, that wasn't what we were doing. We were just trying to give some motion and give some life to the merchandising. And that I felt like I could stand behind that. But to your point, like there are others that are just straight trickery. And at that point, like you lose that integrity. So,
I think when it comes to using also like AI, like on Meta and media buying and stuff like that, it is a necessity. It is helpful. Like, if I, as a consumer, was getting ads based on, golf and dog food, and I don't play golf and I don't have a dog, I would be like, what is happening here? I don't even want anything to do with my browsing. Like, they don't even know who I am. I like that I get ads based on fashion or skiing or coffee, like, because those are things I'm passionate about. Yeah. And so I think that there's so many ways that it's like really helpful to serve people things they actually care about. Like who doesn't want that? But it can't be like voyeur. Like it can't be like too intrusive.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I'm surprised you live in the Denver area without a dog or playing golf. So we'll talk about that later. But
true.
But
true.
No, it's really funny too. I had an opportunity to, and I think this fits in your category. I was at a kind of like an e-com conference, but it was some high end retailers there, like LVMH, et cetera, and they were like, we will not use AI in the merchandising. In fact, their creative director runs the merchandising, which I did not know until they let me in on that. And they were like, we will not, because if you're going to pay X thousands of dollars for a handbag, we're not going to just like recolor something with AI. We're going to actually do a photo shoot, because the customer actually, there's a negative brand association if the customer realizes that. So
Totally. I'd say the same thing. Like we have never once used AI for our photography or our assets. Like it's just, you need to see it on a girl and you need to see the real color in the light, and we take like great pride in our photos. So
yeah, that's awesome.
They're beautiful. They're stunning. Like they're actually come stopping.
Thank you. That's very kind.
But you mentioned there's a time and place for AI, and all the use cases that you mentioned, especially within the context of an authentic brand like the one like Half-Faced, makes a lot of sense. Do you foresee any brands using AI for video production or photography?
Definitely. I mean, I think it saves you so much money. Like people are definitely going to do that. And listen, maybe it'll work for some people, but it's just not like, it doesn't feel true to who we are.
Yeah.
But there's, I don't know. I mean, honestly, like CPG products that like lack humanity to it, like, sure, there's so many great tools. Like I just was having a call with, I think it was called PickJam, and it's such a cool tool and a great way to get content. And if you're just like trying to highlight a can, like who cares? Like, I don't know. It just doesn't feel as human. And that is, again, it goes back to like, just like a false narrative. Like it's just so important that if you're trying to meet humans where humans are, that you are not creating a fake world or a fake product or a fake person.
Yeah. And it goes back, I think it just goes back to the integrity. Like you said, like if I'm buying a CPG, like the integrity of that is, I don't care. It's a toothpaste. Like I'm just going to spend a couple bucks for it. I'm okay with that. Versus, for in your case, hundreds of dollars of ski wear, or in LVMH's case, thousands of dollars of whatever.
Totally.
And so, yeah, again, I think it's back to what you said kind of in the beginning, which is authenticity, integrity, and really understanding your customer. And that's how you're really going to scale a brand, no matter whether it's a CPG one, like your coffee you were in, or a high-end luxury ski brand where you are in today.
Totally.
I also think a lot of it boils down to how a brand is advertising itself right now. Like think about Dove. Dove is all about real beauty and real people. I don't see them, if they switch to using AI models, it just won't make sense, because then you suddenly going away from the story you've been building on for decades.
Can you imagine?
Yeah. We're real people, but AI.
Can you imagine the negative press they would get from that? Holy smokes.
But I have a hot take / low-key prediction. Okay, when I look at majority of pharmaceutical commercials are just people smiling and walking, and it's not a real person. There's no, I could see those ads being replaced increasingly with AI in 2026, because it's just people doing things. It looks like a stock image. Maybe, as long as there's no
100%.
pharma brand. Yeah.
But whoever said pharma brand has integrity, like, I don't know. I can see it. I can see it.
That's the hot take. Denise, you didn't have the hot. She had the hot take. Unbelievable.
Hang on, I think my door.
Well, on that note, we know you got to run. We're almost at time. This was an amazing interview.
That's so good.
I'll just say that you keep saying you're not a performance marketer, and I will just say that my philosophy that hopefully others are adopting is there's no difference between brand and performance. Your brand is going to drive performance. Your performance should be accretive to your brand. And really at the end of the day, you know, like we've been talking about, customers don't even believe they're in a funnel. They're not, you know, they're living life, and we're trying to get in front of them from an intent perspective. So you, in my view, you are not a performance marketer, but you are, and you're killing it. And we are just glad to have you. And if you have a couple minutes, we'd love to just do a quick lightning round. We do it with all of our interviews if you got a minute. Okay. So cool. So, all right, let's get it going. All right. So back to your coffee days. What's your La Colombe drink?
I'm a bit of a coffee purist, so I would say an Americano.
Ooh, I like it. Okay. What is the biggest mistake brands get when they have female-focused marketing?
Oh my God, when they have female-focused marketing. What is the biggest mistake brands have when they have female-focused marketing? I know I'm not making this very quick or rapid fire.
That's fine. We'll cut it.
Yeah, right. I don't know that I have a good answer for that, because a lot of brands aren't like hyper-focused on females, and I think it's changed over, like a lot of beauty brands are, I guess, and they it has changed meaningfully, because I feel like now people are they're marketing to like a wide array of people. Like that wasn't always the case. Yeah. And now I feel like people are looking at women not just as like a singular group of like, this is who you are, but it's like they come in all shapes and sizes, all different colors. We have a bunch of, you know, like we have crazy ambitions, and we carry a lot. We wear a lot of hats. And so you kind of have to like meet women where women are, because no one is the same.
Right. Not homogenous. Also, first mistake probably is what you mentioned before, which like they're not marketing to women. So that's probably a problem. And then second of all, you know, homogeny.
And it's not to say men are not either, right? I think as humans, we are not, right?
Same principles,
we talked about it. Like we kind of talked about this with dude wipes. Like the fact that dude wipe, like they could make anybody wipe. It doesn't matter. But the fact that they're like, we're dude wipe, they have a niche and they have a focus, and that makes them authentic, and it makes their customer base feel something and buy something, you know. So I think
one key lesson there also is, if you are a women-focused brand, don't just pink it and shrink it like half days.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. Last one. What's something you bought just because the branding was so good, you just had to buy it?
I would say Mila soup dumplings. They're these like soup dumplings I saw in the grocery store. I actually saw them at Expo West many years ago, but I saw them in the grocery store just recently. And they like really stood out to me. Again, they're called Mila soup dumplings. The branding is like really fun, and they are as good as they looked on packaging.
All right, I love soup dumplings, so I got to try it. I'm in. I'm in. You sold me. Hopefully, you get a referral fee. But anyway, Alicia, it was so nice to have you. Like I said, it's rare for us to have such a complete marketer like yourself on here that's done so many great things. And when I say complete, I'm not just talking about brand and performance. I'm talking about someone that's worked agency, client side, a startup scale to a mass scale. And it's just such a pleasure to have you. And it's been a pleasure to get to know you over the last several months since we were introduced. So thank you so much for coming on.
You guys have an amazing podcast. It's an honor for me to be on, and I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks for joining. Alicia, I think you truly personify the art of commerce. Like we name it the art of commerce because you can't move commerce without art. And without commerce, art is just, it's art. You're doing it for yourself. So you giving your background and the journey that you've had, you personify that experience. Such a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And with that, we are the Art of Commerce. So like and subscribe, follow us. If you have a favorite marketer or a favorite business person or CEO that you want to tell, hey, we're going to spend on awareness marketing, like send Alicia's interview there, and like, comment, let us know what you want. Anish, what do you got? Anything else?
Connect with Alicia, follow her on LinkedIn, check out halface.com, and we'll see you next week with another amazing conversation. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. See y'all. Thank you.
Cool.
This is The Art of Commerce, featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. If you found value in today's episode, follow the show, leave a review, and stay tuned for more insights for the minds reshaping modern marketing.